T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis on a mission to build, resupply, and to do research on the International Space Station.
Houston now controlling. Atlantis begins its penultimate journey to shore up the International Space Station. Atlantis now in the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Outpost. 30 seconds into the flight. Atlantis almost 2 miles in altitude, almost 6 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center already, traveling 500 miles an hour. The 3 liquid fuel main engines now throttling back to 72% of rated performance, going into the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it breaks through the sound barrier.
Hi. Let's see. Okay, yeah. There's a comment there, but it is my comment. So, I am live. Woohoo! So in the description for this video is the pre-launch site for the Indiegogo that I have coming for Le Premier Tome, which is volume 1 of Les Amours de Sebel, which means Love Undressed. That is in pre-launch. I've got just a few things that I want to do before I launch it. So I'm going to put that in comments as well. So, so this is one of the last, not the last piece for this book, but now this book that you're seeing, this piece that you're looking at, isn't for the haiku series. It's not part of the haiku series. It's actually part of the book I'm working on called This Is Not Emotional Burlesque. It's the book I'm working on now. So I had penciled and inked and prepped all this art to paint, and as far as the stack was concerned of the ones I needed to paint, this is the last of that set. Not the last of the ones for the book, but the last of the set. So that's what I'm going to finish tonight. I've decided I got to finish this one because I am itching to sketch the next round of pieces for the book using the rest of the poetry. In addition to the fact that I've written 2 new poems that I'm going to include in this book, of course, because, you know, why not? It is one of those things where I keep, like, my head keeps wanting to try to rush me, and then I just have to take a pause in a moment and remind myself that I've already published 3 books this year. Including the haiku series, which is I'm going to do, in addition to having published it, I'm going to do the Indiegogo campaign. The first time for me, no idea, you know, like I've never done, well, I mean, I kind of have an idea of what to expect, but my first time at this. So it's almost all the way set up and it's almost all the way ready, but I am currently reworking the lettering on some of it. Particularly the part of the lettering in the front part of it. So, but otherwise, it's done. At least, you know, the book is written. The book is done. The book is ready. It's ready to go. So, I keep wondering about, like, you know, because when you set up the campaign in Indiegogo, it like makes you put 60. Which is what I did, but I was like, I don't need a 60-day campaign. So I'll talk to the experts and ask them about that, of course. Let me get this a little closer to the art. It occurred to me that I should I have my screens on a little differently. I have the screen with the art on it much bigger than I usually would do. So that made perfect sense to me. I don't know why I hadn't thought of it sooner. You know, it's what I do. I don't think about everything, you know. I might be an overachiever, but I don't think about everything. I mean, come on. Okay, so let me try to just straighten this out. You're the one for me. Oh yeah, I got my playlist ready and I got my music on. I'm gonna finish this one, and then I do have I might do them. Depends on how long it'll take me to finish this one. One of the reasons I saved this particular piece for last was because of its complexity, as well as my desire to not even come close to. I don't know why I feel like I had everything all set up, but I just literally moved the camera, moved the water, moved the paint. The only thing that I had really in the right spot was the art. Oh my God. Someone to care now. Oh, son of a bitch. I need much more water than that. It's like as I'm getting towards the, along in this process and doing more of these, I'm using a lot of my paint. And, I normally, one, I just normally would be using canvas. And then secondly, I would definitely have already been like, I probably would not have even come close to having used this much paint. And since I use watercolors and I like the palettes because I can't stand the hi Salazar, hi Frank. I can't stand the idea of having to do a bunch of mixing and jazz while I'm doing this. And so it's convenient to just have, the water and get it wet and go to the paint. However, the only thing is that, I feel like the only part about this process that I'm not a fan of, that kind of was not a fan of, was this feeling like my art was on a conveyor belt or on some kind of factory thing, like the whole, okay, here, I got this is my set. I got a pencil. Here's my set I inked. And here's the set I've got to paint. And I don't like that. Like that's, I've gotten used to it. And I'm working with it. Like I'm okay. I'm making it work. But yeah, not a fan of it. Wouldn't be my normal run of the mill. Like when I get done with this particular collection, I don't see myself doing this for a while unless it's, of course, unless it's related to the haiku series. Because doing a full narrative poetry illustrated book the way that I am for this one, it's definitely something I'm no regrets. None that I launched myself onto this project. And if I had done it the way I thought I was going to do it at the beginning of the year, I'd already be done. It would already be out there, or it would already be published. But the good thing is it is up to this point, it is the most ambitious project I've ever done. Way more ambitious than the haiku series, for sure. So that's a feel-good feel, but of course it's it has been some adjusting. It has. And the friends that I have that are more painter than other types of art get it. They get it a little differently. I have to move that. I mean, like, I'm not realizing, like, all this time I've been coming online and painting, I've been fairly comfortable. And I don't know if it's the fact that I commute now again, maybe because I literally like spend 2 hours of my day in the car now commuting to and from the house. And I'm already like, I'm like 9 minutes into this and I'm already like adjusting the way I'm sitting and moving and all that shit. Like, I'm not in pain per se, but I'm like, this is not as easy. It's not as comfortable. It's not as readily, I don't know, man. Like when I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head. It's probably just in my head. So weird. Okay. Yep. She's like no other. It's trying to make you see. When to make you hold up. Hold it when to control her. Never to get it. Ooh, you could spit it. Ooh, let you spread it. Hello. Only way you can but no. Hi there. Welcome to the art hour, or however long I will be here finishing this piece. I intend to finish it, so luckily it is mostly done, so I should be able to get it done. You want to see that to see then the only ways. I think I was talking about how when I'm getting to that point where I'm going to look at investing in another set of paints. I might get them differently in a different form than what I use. Because this whole working on paper the way I am to illustrate this book is a little different than canvas. You would think I would use less. I'll hop on was just setting up. Nice. That's rad. Yeah, I set up the stream for basically to just come on here and finish this myself. But, I have a lot of artist friends out there, and I have been so super lucky and blessed to get invited to just join them and have an art, painting party kind of thing going on. And so it's been so rad that I want to make sure that some of the times when I come on here, I want to be able to do the same for others if they want to come paint on here with me. This is for me, live stream broadcasting is kind of my jam. That's just how I have a few people I faithfully follow, and I make sure to follow out or share out their stuff. I absolutely will make sure to reciprocate the fair attention and the love that others give and express for me and for others, for sure. I have no apologies about that if I don't share someone's stuff, or if I'm not sharing their stuff. It could very well be that they don't do that for people, and I hate to put it out there, but it's the truth. Because I don't understand that. I don't understand anyone who thinks that it's all about taking and with nothing, giving nothing back. That's just not okay. I can't do it. I can't go there. Today, man, oh my God. I should have put his link in there, but I started like I normally do. I found another master to follow who is, someone who is skilled. Hi. Oh, there's hey, this thing didn't beep it. Oh, I hi, sweet guy.
Hey.
I just realized how I gotta do this. I gotta turn this volume on. Shit. Hold on. Oh, let me think about this. About you. The headphones? That's what I'm gonna do. done this headset with microphone. Okay. You can probably hear me. I'm just trying to get to where I can hear you. Okay. Fucking echo.
Hello, everyone.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Still an echo. Yeah, so this whole like having myself in here and having my thing in here with the art, someone out there smarter than me has to tell me how to fucking do that using StreamYard. You know, because the only way I could get it to fix, to get it to work when I'm by myself, is turn the speaker off on the laptop. But if I do that, I can't hear you.
Okay, yeah.
And that's just, I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I usually.
So what are you working
from
on?
my phone.
How about you talk? How about you talk and let me play over here and figure out what the fuck I can do with this.
All right. I just opened up my program right now, so I'm just practicing, just doing a sketch. Nothing specific. But I mailed out the Phoenix today. I sent a version to you and a version to Anna Rob. So I was practicing doing watercolors on one. I think that's the one I sent to Anna Rob. So just trying to see how it looks. So,
that's cool.
So just sketching. I can hear the psycho theme there. Oh, dang it. Get it. So that's the piece you were working on last time? Oh, like this.
Okay. Right. This will work. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, okay.
So I just took myself out of the stream with that other tab. And you know, I'm glad. I mean, I'm really actually pretty glad that happened, because I want to be able to do this with when I have the masters on Saturday mornings, the way that Peter was with me. I want to be able to be on camera or have them be on camera, and there's got to be something I'm not understanding about this. You know, even if I tell everything to use the same mic and use the same speakers, it still fucking does that. And I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's StreamYard is tricky with no, I'm here.
Fuck. What happened? Are you there?
I'm here. I can hear you.
What the fuck? Somehow the volume got turned down. Okay, this is like all jacked up. And you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm really okay with it, because this is so freaking annoying. like I said, everything happens for a reason. I really do believe that everything happens for a reason. And if this is like the universe's way of making sure that I know how to do this for when I have other people in the stream with me, which is not something I normally do. So I just have to figure out what the heck or how to do it, you know? That's all.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way to do it. There has to be.
I think there is a StreamYard is pretty tricky. It's a lot of trial and error. I stream from my phone, so I just show myself like this, and if I want to show my art, I just move the phone and look. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I know that they just started where I can screen share someone else's laptop or iPad. I just can't screen share what I'm doing. So sometimes I'll just let them do that. I know Anna Rob and I were she was testing out her equipment, so
Right?
she had a similar thing. We did a stream on her channel where she had like the two windows. So
Yeah.
one should be working on some art and one should be on there, and then she'll like switch and she'd be
Yeah.
on two. So and she had a similar problem where it was you will get an echo and then her mic was doing this thing where it was like lowering her voice uh, uh, a bit, so she sounded like she was on something every time she talked.
Well,
Uh,
what doesn't make any sense is that I can turn the like when I'm on with the other like when I use two browsers and two cameras, right? So when I'm on with the other one, I can literally turn the mic off, I can mute it, and tell it to use the mic of the other device, and I will still get the stupid echo because of the speakers. And I'm like, there's got to be a way around that. And I'm like sitting here thinking, I'm going to just have to message the StreamYard people and ask them, what am I doing wrong? If I am doing something wrong, or if it isn't possible, like if what I want to do is not possible, then I'm going to have to change services because there's guys that are on freaking Twitch all the time with multiple screens going, multiple guys, multiple people in the stream going, you know, and I'm not seeing them with that, having those issues. So it's probably me. I'm going to hope it's just me. And I don't want to have to use my phone. I don't want to have to use my phone because it's like part of what I enjoy when I do this, of course, especially more so when I'm alone. I like having music on. I like singing along to my music, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's why, like, yeah, it's kind of annoying. I can't really, you know, if I use the phone to be in the broadcast, then I can't use the phone for the music. And then if I use the computer for the music, then I'll get the echo. It's a shit show, man. I'm like, I need like 4 devices and I need a studio.
Yeah.
That's okay. And you know, and the basic bottom line truth is I don't need to be in the stream. Really. You know, if your art was on your screen, I would change the way it was set up right now. Like right now, my art's that big screen, but
Yeah, that's fine.
that's the only reason I'm leaving it the way it is. So okay. So tell me again. I think I was distracted and I didn't get to hear what you were saying about the Phoenix.
The one that I drew last time, I think was on Peter's stream.
Yeah.
So I printed out 2 copies on cardstock.
Oh, nice.
And so I did 2 iterations, and I sent you one, and I sent one to Anna Rob. I did one in watercolor because I wanted to try that out, and I think that's the one I sent to Anna Rob. And I did one with alcohol markers, and I think that's the one I sent to you. And so you should be getting that I think both of you should be getting that Monday.
So what do you do on your? Because I saw that, I'm assuming you did that digitally.
Yeah, I did the original and digitally. I kept the line art, and so I just print out the line art on cardstock,
That's
and then
so
the
rad.
and then I just say,
And you
I'll
painted that.
color this. Yeah, color and paint it.
That's so
And
rad. Well, because I'm digging what you're selling me, because like I think I've told you that I've never worked in digital. I've just never played with it really,
mhm,
and never wanted to. Was never willing to, and I started to, and so what I started, the basic thing I'm doing is I use for the I have a webtoons that is just solely for haikus,
mhm,
and all of the artwork I use for that webtoons is original digital illustrations.
okay,
Um, Everything on there has been done digitally. I didn't sketch any of them. I didn't ink anything. I just straight up opened Sketchbook to a blank thing, sized it, and just went to town with my stylist. And it's kind of like it started at first, when I first started doing it, the intent was just to kind of learn, well, what are these brushes and what do these things do and
yeah,
what's this setting mean, and what, like, and some of the pieces have come from, like, they look the way they look because I might have been working with the smudge feature a lot, or I was working with the markers as opposed to the inks. I mean, so like, they're all pretty consistently. I mean, it's to me, and this is just my opinion, you can still tell it's me as an artist, because if you know my work or you've ever looked at it, it doesn't take much to look at it and go, oh yeah, that's totally her style. But what's really cool about it is that it's given me this way of, because I needed something to kind of motivate me
yeah,
to care enough about digital illustration to even bother with it, because I like this is what I like. Like, I dig what you're saying about printing the art out and
mhm,
then doing your paintings, because that would be something I could totally sign up for. Like, I would dig.
yeah,
That's a great, like, I did, you know what? I don't think I've been doing that. I don't think I've been keeping any line art for these ones I've been creating. I think I'm just kind of going, like, I did do one or two where I was learning. I didn't even know how to use layering at first. I didn't. I'm like, I don't know how to use that. I don't even know what that is. And then now I
yeah,
kind of have a general idea of what it is. But that's a great idea of like keeping the line art, saving it separate, which I'm sitting here, Frank, thinking, duh, because that's what I did with these. Like, this is not the original sketch.
yeah. I thought that's what you did. So
Exactly. This is a copy. I copied this. And I'm painting a copy. The only, because luckily my printer will take sketch paper in the printer. So I print on sketch
oh,
paper.
cool.
I sketch on sketch paper and I print on sketch paper. And I probably, I could probably use a thicker paper, but this paper is just fine. Because by the time I get done with sealing these and spraying them with the acrylic gloss I use, they're not as regular. Like, they're not this thin. They get almost waxy, like almost like a piece of plastic, the way that I
Yeah,
treat them at the end. So yeah, but I should do that. That's a good idea. Like, some of those ones I've created, or whenever I sit down, I created one today. I haven't done the webtoon yet for it. I have one ready to create. I have a haiku ready and written to create the art, and then I have another one where the art is created for a joke for my comedy one, because I'm doing that
oh,
one
okay.
too. So the joke is written and the art's done. I just haven't put it together and published it yet. So, do you do a webtoons at all?
No, I've thought about it, but I usually like I spend so much time with just like the comic that I'm doing, and then like I would have to like reformat all the panels, which I hear it's
Well,
not hard, but I don't know. I think once I have like more stuff done, like
Yeah.
more pages done, then I can like take the time to cut down the panels, reformat them, and then uh, upload what their episodes or chapters
Yeah.
like.
Episodes. Yeah. I mean, well, it depends on what platform you want to use, because I didn't even
Yeah.
realize there was, like, mine are on Webtoons, but there's a few. There's Tapas. There's a few. There's quite a few actually.
Okay.
So, you know,
Yeah, I know. I heard of Tapas. Joshua Campbell. He had a well the comic he just finished and it's on Amazon. It
hmm
was on Tapas and he would like post up a page every few months.
yeah,
Uh, so I
there's a
read it
few.
on there first and then I bought it. So
Oh, nice. Well, that's how. There's a few people that I like just recently saw them, with their campaign, like Tim Laddie, that Team Laddie guy. He has a web comic. His campaign that's going on right now,
mhm.
Night Stars, I think. That one, I don't think that one's the web comic. His web comic, I want to say the web comic is a different series. But so he's got one, and I think he's going to probably do more than one, but
Okay.
it's a cool idea. It's what was nice about it gives me something to do. Like I said, the idea of doing anything digital just made me kind of crazy to start with, like to begin with. I'm like, I don't want to do that kind of work. I don't want to do that kind of art. But then
Yeah.
I started playing, like when I did the haiku series. Some of the pieces I painted like this, the one like I'm doing, or some of them I used markers. And then when I sat down and I put the manuscript together, I used the digital sketchbook and Photoshop, and I did some editing of the scanned art and played around with some of it, mostly with contrast, some coloring, very, very little, but some. Just in a couple areas where I wanted a color to be brighter than it was. I kind of played with some of that. So the artwork that's in the published book are what you would call graphic illustrations, because they're not a pure scan representation of the art, which
Yeah.
is mixed media, which is basically mixed media. It's
Yeah.
basically like taking two. It's kind of the opposite of what you did, where you created your piece digitally, printed it, and then painted the line art, whereas I painted a piece and then, you know what I'm saying? And then I did
Yeah.
some,
Yeah.
it's like the opposite of what you did in a way, like what I did. And so it was cool because doing that got me kind of into it a little bit. Like, I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. Like, I think I can do this. So what kind of device do you use for your digital art?
Right now I'm using an XP Pen Artist 13, and I just got this one. I think in March. They had a sale.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the price of the I think the Artist 12, which was I was gonna get. I think it was like 150, and this one
Okay.
originally was like about 200 something. So I was like, oh, I can just get this one for the same price that I was gonna spend on the smaller one, and it's a bigger
Yeah.
screen. So yeah, so I bought that. But
Nice.
before that, I used the because it's a screen tablet, so I used the ones where it's the tablet, but you have to look at your laptop or your monitor uh,
Oh yeah, I've seen.
while you're drawing.
Yeah.
So I have a few of those. I think
How big of a
actually I have
pain in the ass are those? Because aren't those a lot cheaper?
yeah, they're a lot cheaper. They're not bad. They're actually better for your back because
Oh
you have to
really?
kind of stand up straight because you're like looking at the screen at the tablet while you're drawing on uh, the
Hmm.
tablet itself. In this one, like you hunch over because the screen is right there. You're drawing on the screen, so
Oh.
but
That's
yeah,
an interesting.
I like the other one. But I said, you know what? I want to pretend I'm a professional artist. So I think I'll get the screen one. So
Pretend you're a professional. Well, have you ever had anyone pay for your work?
yeah, I've sold some of my
As
comics
a
and
professional artist. It's kind of like when I did stand-up comedy.
yeah,
You're pretty much an amateur open micer until you're paid to do a
yeah,
set. And then once you get paid and you get put on a ticket to be like a 10-minute, or if you're like I did it as an open micer for, I don't know, probably like a year. I had done it for 6 months before I was paid the first time. And it
okay,
was rad because uh, I wasn't expecting it. It was a Friday night. The only reason I was there was to support my friends who were performing. Like, I wasn't even supposed to perform, and
okay,
someone didn't show up, and they're like, "Hey, because the guy, the owner of the club, he pulled me aside and he's like, I know you have 10 minutes. I need 10 minutes from you." I'm like, okay. And so, there was a few other times after that. Most of the money that I've been paid to do comedy since in the last 15 years is ghostwriting.
okay.
Yeah. And those are jokes they they don't exist in my world. Like, none of the stuff I've ever put out there and been paid for I've ever used on my stuff, because it's not
Yeah,
mine. That's the whole point of ghostwriting.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, going back to your statement, like, as a professional artist, I don't know what I don't know this industry. Comic book, I can't speak for comic books, but I know as a painter, as an artist, and you've been paid for a piece, then yeah, you're good. That's
Yeah,
that's the
and that's
difference.
that. Yeah, that's usually the definition that I've been going with,
Yep.
and just recently on the Traco Crave cast, I started asking this question: what makes you a pro? I didn't ask it this last time with
Mm-hmm.
Javi because like the conversation was it was just so good, and I was like, I'm running out of time, and I have a couple more questions, like so I'm gonna have to cut one of the questions out. So,
Right.
uh, but yeah, and that's something I was asking, but that's why because I didn't always really consider myself as a professional, but that was the main thing that I was hearing. Like you're doing it and you're getting paid, or
Yep.
you've gotten paid. Uh,
Exactly.
so
Well, and that's the thing. If you're doing what you're doing with the intention of it being a business, not a hobby, like, you're not sitting around just doing this in your living room and, putting art in a box and going about your day. Like, you're actually advocating, like, making money at this, or
yeah,
as a business. That's to me would be basic definition of it being a profession. I That would have been like prior to 6 years ago when I created Doris Jones Labors of Love.
mhm,
I definitely, even though I had been painting and had been doing poetry and all this stuff, I mean, it definitely would not have been what you would consider as a professional, because I hadn't even let anyone see any of it. I wouldn't even take it out of a closet and let people look at it. And so when I started to, after my ex got me to show my work, he got me to finish a bunch of pieces. He was an artist himself, and so when he found out I could do what I could do, he encouraged me to do more of it, and it just blew up. And I mean, like, in a good way. It blew up where, like, I finished a bunch of stuff, I produced a bunch of new stuff, I sold some stuff, I created my Facebook page, I started branding it. And it's, what you see today in the little time you've known me, the pages, or
mhm,
the all of the social media stuff like that, the work I have done, that's pretty much it's about 6 years of worth of work. Not, well, 6 years worth of branding. The work, a lot of the paintings and some of the poetry existed before 6 years ago. My first two poetry books were basically poetry that spanned a couple of decades that I had just put together. You know, they're just little simple poems. My poetry has gone a whole different way since. It's become more narrative. It's become more expressive. I started doing spoken word, that kind of thing. So tell me, I think I asked you this already. What are you working on right now? Are you doing something right now while you're on with me?
Yeah, actually, right now, I'm sketching. I'm just practicing drawing the female forms, and I got a very crude sketch of a lady. So,
Are you doing
and
it digitally?
yeah, I'm doing it digitally, and right now I'm just
Okay.
refining the line art.
And you said you can't share that screen, right?
No, I mean I can just like move the phone and just here, and I can do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to leave it there, but you can just to show me if you want to hold it up or show it real quick.
Yeah.
Where's
Let
my?
just,
Let me do this. There we go.
All right.
You are in solo layout, so I can get an idea of what you're doing.
Let's see. How's this?
Oh, that's rad. Okay. I totally see that. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going over all the sketchy stuff and refining the line art there.
Yeah. And yeah, because I've done like, oh my God. So my first medium from ages ago that I loved using was charcoals. And so I hadn't worked with charcoals in a long time. And so I start this whole process with illustrating stuff. And like this piece here, the original, the one I chose not to paint, I actually use charcoal for some of the sketching and for some of the not really inking. You don't really ink with charcoal, but I used a lot of charcoal because I hadn't used paper, like I hadn't painted on paper or sketched on paper in a long time. And so it was almost like I had to retrain my hands to do that. And charcoal, I got those out that one day, just out of the, like out on a whim or whatever. And it ended up being perfect timing because it helped my hands, it helped my brain connect in this way that I needed to, again, inside somewhere, back to when I was using charcoals as my medium. And what was cool is that digitally, with some of the pieces I've done digitally, even though I do end up using a bunch of other brushes and a bunch of other inks and effects and stuff, I use a lot of the tools in the digital app that are charcoal. I'll use the charcoal to do the line art instead of a pencil. And because I like my brain can grasp the, like, even just setting, even just going into the settings and setting the settings the way that I wanted to them or whatever. Doing that with the charcoal brushes in the digital app made like my head could wrap in it's like I could understand it. And I was like, okay, it's almost as if, do you speak Spanish?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Sí. So, yo estudio español un semestre. Mi español muy poquito. Okay. Like I don't speak Spanish, but I can fake it a little bit. And I can understand way more than I can speak. Like I wouldn't go so far to say that I could carry a conversation with someone speaking in Spanish, but I can get by. You know, like if there's a situation and someone needs something or whatever, depending on what they're asking, I could probably get by. So why I was bringing that up and using that metaphor is that, so what I've had to do with digital art and digital illustration on the device is kind of like learning a new language. It's like learning how to speak Spanish. I had to learn, how the male and the female have different ways of being said, the words, like with the the a,
una, la, lo.
Exactly. It's almost like that. And so some of the digital stuff, when I've learned it, or how I've had to, like when I go into the settings, like, okay, like flow with heavy pressure, flow with low pressure, like even just something as simple as that. My head had to wrap itself around what the fuck I was looking at, even in the settings. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Because I'm like in this purist world of doing everything with real devices and stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand any of this. Yeah. But that is why charcoal was the first brushes that I started using in the digital app, because I understood, like I would play with it just maybe one or two times and I'd be like, okay, I get what it's saying, because I had worked with charcoal for so long on, for so many years that I'm like, my head, it could connect like instantly to what I was doing. So, which was nice, because it's fuck, man. No, I got a long ways to go, dude.
Like I only started doing digital maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and I only started getting better like maybe a year ago, and I'm still learning. I still don't know what, like you said flow, like I didn't even know that. Because for the longest time I used my phone, so I was just using my phone to make comics and to make art.
That's what I'm using right now. I'm using my phone.
Oh, what app do you use?
Sketchbook.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have that. I have that now on the computer. I'm using Clip Studio, but I use Sketchbook sometimes. But
I'm a fan of
Infinite Painter, and I paid for the full app because like some of the brushes like they're already good brushes. So.
Say hello. We have someone watching us now. Say hello, whoever you are.
Hello.
We've had like one or two people pretty consistently. I usually have at least one in my thing in the corner. So far all I've really used is Sketchbook. I do have another program on here, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. Adobe Draw.
Okay.
That's okay. It's all right. Sketchbook is rad. It's super. The one on the computer is way better than the one on the phone, but my computer. Yeah. Hi, we have two people watching us now, Frank.
Oh. Hello.
Yeah. Well, so when I got my laptop years ago, I spent all kinds of crazy money, and I everything is at the time. Now, granted, it's probably way outdated now, but at the time it was the highest of everything that was on the in the world of computers at the time. And it's a 360-degree tablet screen. So the screen rotates to lay flat as a tablet.
Oh, okay.
Which was part of why I got it. I mean, like, why I thought I wanted that, don't ask me, because I never did use it for digital reading until this year. This year was the first year I started using it to use as a Kindle reader. I had never done that before. I never used it as a tablet. I've had it all this time. I think I bought it. I'm trying to remember what year. I bought it like 4 years ago. This year's the first year I actually used it as a tablet. I've had it this whole fucking time. So I'm like, oh, I'll just use this. I've got this tablet. So I'm like, okay, I've got this huge fucking screen. I'll just use this for digital illustration. It's perfect, right? So I go to Best Buy, tell the guy my laptop, I'm like, I need a stylus. I had never bought a stylus for it. Because why? I mean, I wasn't using it as a tablet. I mostly was using it for writing. I was publishing stuff on it, and I was doing it for that, Mm-hmm. And I'd watch streaming services, whatever. But I cast it to an actual television monitor, so I never really actually used the laptop monitor to watch TV. So I get there, and I'm at Best Buy, and I tell the guys what my computer is, and the guy that was helping me, he starts trying to find it online or whatever. And then, of course, one of the more seasoned employees that knew computers a little better, he hears me say what computer I have, and he's like, yeah, they don't make a stylus for your computer. I'm like, what? So when it came out, when they produced my laptop, whenever HP made it, they didn't consider that. They didn't take that into consideration. They made this monitor screen 2 extra inches than the normal laptop because they wanted to be able to sell this big screen and this whole, like, you know, oh, look at how pretty it is, and look at how wide and horizontal and no. But yeah, so a stylus pen or even one of those capacitive pens or whatever it's called, none of them work. Not a single one of them will work. I had a friend buy me one. She's had it sent to me. It didn't work. I bought like 6 or 7 different brands of just the stylus kind that's like, we'll work with anything, you know, like on the box, right? Nope. Yeah. Not a single one of them will work with that laptop. So I have this extremely expensive piece of equipment and cannot use it for digital illustration.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm like, really? I'm like, I spent all this time to finally put my freaking stupid ego aside and I get willing to start doing some digital illustration, and it denied. Denied, girlfriend. It's like, no, you're denied. Do not pass go. Go, you know. And you don't get to collect $200. You are asked out, sweet sister. So kind of like, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm going to use my Indiegogo campaign for the haiku series as mostly, like, if it wasn't for the fact that I want to try, I really don't care about making money per se, like a profit. What the fuck is that, right? Like, that part would be nice, but mostly I just want to be able to make enough, you know, if I do make any kind of a profit of any kind, I really just want to make enough to buy a digital device. Okay. That I can actually use, like what you're using, that one of those. I've had that was recommended to me. I think there's another device called a Halcyon or something. I can't remember. Search
Huion?
Yeah. I had one of those suggested. So I kind of had to stop looking at them because it's like I'm looking at them and my mouth's watering and I'm like, this is a waste of my time. So I had to stop looking at them. And so I was like, well, you know what? In the interim, I will do what I do, and I'm going to just keep doing it the way I'm doing it. And I use my phone as practice with the ones I have, creating the ones that I've created, you know. I'm at the point now where I do everything straight from the app. Like I did, I haven't uploaded it yet. I did one comic strip for the comedy one where everything was sketched. I did all the pieces sketched, and then I inked them in Sketchbook. That was a new experience for me. I hadn't done before, and I taught myself how to do it, and that was pretty cool. And then I colored them in Sketchbook. And they're super fucking basic. They're not going to win me any awards. I'm definitely not going to get any jobs or commissions out of it. But you know what? The fact that it was all my original art was good enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, like that was all I really wanted. I just wanted to be able to say, look, this one is all me. And I can't stand the idea of using others' work that's not mine.
Yeah, for sure.
And I hadn't necessarily used work that wasn't mine, but I had uploaded some episodes using stock art, or not stock art, stock. What are they called? Stock photos.
Yeah, stock photo.
Yeah, and luckily, I had a friend in the art world who made it. You know, he was willing to make a comment about how that really wasn't all that good to do. So I ended up just deleting all of those and started the strip over, and that for my own just because what he had to say was what I needed to hear, and he was absolutely right, and I felt better about it. Yeah, it felt like I was deleting a bunch of work I had done, but you know what? It was so worth it to know that. I mean, I only have one episode on that now, but that one episode is all me. Like, there's nothing in that episode that is stock art at all. It's all my art, and that is okay with me. You know, that I would much rather that. So,
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that because I was looking at it. I think in the morning when Pete was streaming. So I went to go grab it, and I thought like, oh, is this an alternate account?
oh yeah, because I think you had seen it before back when you first met me because you were sharing it out and
Yeah.
following it and stuff. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't even think to. Yeah, I mean, whoever was subscribed to me before probably they've probably had that same question, you know, like what? I mean, I only had like 13. Actually, by the time I deleted it and started over, I had 27 people following that comic.
Oh wow.
But I think the only reason I got 27 was because I had posted about some hateful comments that someone had put on some of my episodes, and I had posted that in a webtoon group that I belong to, and I think that I got some people follow me after that you know, they were trying to be supportive, and that was fine, and I appreciated it. But so it's got some following now, nothing like it did, but I'm just starting out, you know. I've got a few strips that are done that I know that are all my own, you know. There's no stock photos. I just haven't had the time. I'm like working and I'm doing this, and I've been streaming a lot. I haven't had time to rebuild it back up with at least with the episodes that were my art, you know, to the joke, as opposed to using stock art. And so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just maybe do little pieces here and there to kind of keep, you know, some stuff in there. But ultimately, I'm going to try to find an artist who's willing to co-partner with me that is got the skill set to do the sequential art the way that it would really do the comic strip justice. Because if done right, my stand-up, a lot of it, especially because I'm rewriting, most of it's written in these really short tweet kind of formats, but when I write them out narrative, like the conversational pieces that they actually are intended to be, they become much more than just a 1-page or 2-page type of thing. They become like more of a story, a funny story, as opposed to, you know. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm like, until I find an artist willing to do the sequential art as a co-partner on it, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, you know, finessing the scripts, producing little 1-2 page, you know, 2-panel ones kind of thing. Like the one that I have ready to go, it's really a 1-image panel kind of a comment. It's just a really funny. It's almost more like a quip, like a comedic quote, as opposed to a joke per se. And so I'll probably put that together and post it before I go to bed tonight. So yeah. So those are pretty much what I'll do until I find an artist. And, you know, no rush on finding one either, you know, because I got enough projects to keep me busy for the next couple of years. Whether I find an artist to be on that with me or not is really like, that would be a plus, you know. It's not it's certainly not a make or break type of thing at all, because I got so many fucking projects. I'll be busy for a while. I will be busy. Oh, so what else you've got going on?
Let's see. I'm working on a comic for the personas that we use on the Taraco, Captain Goggles and Masked Woman.
Okay.
So I already got 2 mini issues. Right now they're just like mini comics. They're 8 pages.
Hmm.
So I got 2 of them, and I got another one where it's just about Masked Woman, and I ended uh, on a cliffhanger. So I'm gonna continue that story, and that takes place before she meets Captain Goggles in the story. So it's just setting up like some characters that uh, when you see them, you'll know like, oh, this is from like I know who those are. That's from the other comic.
Mm.
Yeah, so, um,
Okay.
but it's a little storyline, and right now I was up talking to Anna earlier, and she got like an idea to expand the story on that one. So we're gonna talk ideas. I think like tomorrow or Friday,
Okay.
and I want to finish up the one I was doing for issue 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also got the Captain Courage comic that I had started in the 9-volume anthology. So I want to finish. I want to continue that one, and I still do the little side one that I give out to the kids. So
Right.
and they've been asking for like for more because I would just give them like here you can have these comics, and so they like him. They like Captain Courage. They like Captain Goggles and Masked Woman. So
Hmm.
today I gave some of them uh, some printouts I did of the line art of Captain Courage. And I'm not Captain Goggles and Masked Woman. So I gave
Yeah.
Masked Woman to the girls and Captain Goggles to the boys, and they're telling me like, oh, what are his powers and what are her powers, and uh, you know what do they do? So I was just telling them telling them info. They like it
How
too.
cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm assuming and you're aware of that comic for kids thing, right? Do you know
Which
what I'm
one?
talking about? It's called Comics for Kids. I was on Russ Allen's show the other night, and he has an auction he's doing Friday night, and it's to benefit a charity called Comic Books for Kids. And it's where they send comic books to kids that are in the like hospital or bedridden.
Oh, okay.
It's like that kind of a program. And so like in my campaign I have like so my haiku series, each volume has 2 editions, and the second one is a coloring book. And like at first I was like, ooh, I can send, because Russ was talking about one of the guy who he has a 9-year-old daughter that does a comic book, and I can't remember the name of it, but for every, I think that backers can back it to where comic books get sent to these kids and stuff. So I was like, ooh, I should have some of mine sent to these kids. And I thought about it, and I'm like, that really wouldn't work because a lot of my paintings, not a lot of them, but some of them are like this one that you see where there's nudity.
Yeah.
So it really wouldn't be appropriate to give those coloring books to children because there are some, subject matters, mature subject matters in the paintings. And however, Russ said that they also do comic books for the military guys. So if someone has an adult mature comic, they can still donate comics. They just have to donate. It just goes to the military guys instead of the kids. And I'm like, oh, well, my coloring book would definitely be cool for the guys like out somewhere because they'd be coloring, sometimes they'd be probably coloring naked women, and they'd probably appreciate that. But anyway, I was just going to originally was going to add it to my campaign for the kids, but now I'm just going to add it to my campaign. I'm going to do the research and get Russ's information, or Russ said he would give me the information on how I would want to even word it, in the campaign, so that people knew what it was they were even paying for.
Yeah.
Fun guy. Yeah. So in the interim, though, I have a whole other book I published with Amazon 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3. But it's a children's book, and it's a children's coloring book specifically, and it's faith-based. And
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe I should just send you the PDF, and you can print, when you can afford it. You can print when you can print, or you can give the PDF to these kids that you're talking about, these ones you give those comics to, because it's a pretty cool, nifty little coloring book. It's each page has got there's a story, and it's about this ant. It's called The Love Cloak. And okay, Frank, it's not going to win any art awards, and it's not going to win any writing awards. It's just not. It was my first stab at it, okay? And the illustrations are nothing like what you see me doing right now, okay? The illustrations were actually illustrations that I had done ages ago. And when I sat down to do the actual book a couple of years ago, my heart just I couldn't redraw the art. I didn't want to redraw the art. Partially because my kids didn't draw the art. I drew the art, but my kids were there the night I drew that art. Like, we were doing kind of like they were doing stuff and I was doing that. And so anyway, I said, yeah, you know what? Screw it. It's fine. It's good enough for a coloring book. So what made me think of that was that I told Russ, I'm like, oh, you know what? It's not really the haiku book, but I can't imagine anyone having a problem with a campaign having like a separate item listed as a perk in it that was for charity like that. And I thought about putting my coloring book in there like that for that purpose. We will see.
Okay, yeah.
But in the interim, I can definitely send it to you. I have it. That's a super easy thing,
Oh, cool, yeah.
And if it means that a kid out there will take a crayon to something I drew and color it, that would make that to me is all the payment I could possibly need. It really is. There's no amount of money in the world that's the same as that feeling. It just
Yeah,
isn't.
no, yeah, for sure. Like the little Captain Courage one. I I had a bunch of copies printed. I just need to cut them and put them. Uh, but I do those to give away, and we're gonna have for church a back to school giveaway. I think on the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a costume that I did that I made out of like old army uniforms and stuff I bought for
Oh,
Captain Courage.
you're gonna
So
cosplay?
yeah, so that's what I've been doing. That's how it started. Because you mentioned the kids in the hospitals. We would visit kids in hospitals and give them
No.
like Christmas gifts and stuff like that. And that's something I wanted to do. We came up with a Captain Courage idea, but that's something I wanted to do. Like, I want to make a Captain Courage comic I can give out to the kids.
Right.
So now, like, I have this little one. It's not like a big story. It's just like eight pages. Uh, I think like 6 pages, but the cover and back cover.
Yeah.
But it's something I can now give out, and we're not going to the hospitals yet because I don't think we're still able to go back in there, but we're
Yeah.
able to do
Right.
events. So this is like the first event where I'm gonna wear the suit again, and I just bought a new helmet, so so I'm gonna try
That
that
is
out,
so
and
cool.
I can give these out to the kids.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And I have like some of the old line art because I did wanted to do a coloring book.
Yeah.
And like I printed out some of the old ones, but it He doesn't look like that anymore. Like I changed like a lot of things because I was still
Yeah.
like trying to figure it out. But well, some stuff I have now, even with Captain Goggles, like I can make a little mini comic coloring coloring book, where I just fold them into like a little, so it's like a little mini coloring book.
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
I can do that, and just like a few pages, and here, kids, like here's like
That's
a 4-page book, and color this.
that is so cool. Well, I will, I mean, I don't know if you would if it would be something your church could cover the cost of printing them, or I know like way back a long time ago when I was on the oh my church, I used to teach Sunday school, and then before they did that, I would volunteer and stuff, and there were local businesses we could occasionally ask, for them to donate services, and printing would definitely be one of those things where you might be able to get a printing type of place, especially if it's a place that owns their own equipment, and it's not like some brand name shop like a FedEx,
Yeah.
where if it's just a local person, you might be able to get, if you're telling them that these are for kids that you're going to be giving them out at your church or whatever, you might be able to get a printer to print them for free and donate the paper and the ink. Have you
Yeah.
done anything like that or asked?
No, no, I haven't thought about like asking for donations for that. Like in this,
Yeah.
I just like buy the ink myself and buy the papers. Uh, these copies, the founder of the ministry,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, since it's kept in courage, I'll print them out. Like, how many copies do you want? Like, however you can print. It's only like I think he prints them out at his work or his wife's work, so he just uses their ink. But like, all right, cool. At least that saves me paper
Yeah,
and ink.
exactly. Well,
But
yeah, I mean, if you're just doing black and whites for them to color, then at least you're not paying for color ink. Color ink would be a lot more for if you're doing a comic book where they're color images. But
yeah,
that would be a lot more expensive. Which was kind of why when I did the kids book, it made sense to me. I'm like, it makes, because I sat there when I finally sat down, and it's like, okay, it's time to actually, maybe publish this. I have 2 more children's books. I haven't done anything with them yet. They're written. I just haven't finished them or done the publishing part. But I did that one. And then when I sat down, and the reason I started with that one was because it was already illustrated. Like I had already done the illustrations. That's why I started with it. And when I was putting it together, I was looking at them and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to color these because they're really basic. They're super, super basic, but they're just right for coloring like a super young kid.
yeah,
And that's why I left it. I just left them in that format, and I turned it into being, instead of just being an illustrated children's book, which was what I thought it would be, it had just ended up being a children's story coloring book. But, like there's some coloring books for kids don't have any story at all. There's just pages for them to color.
yeah.
But this has an actual story about this ant and a love cloak, and him having to find food for his colony and stuff like that. And so there's a whole story in addition to the super simple, basic art. So,
Okay.
and it's faith-based, which is nice. Like it was one of
Okay. Yeah.
it was one of the other reasons why I kind of started with it. So,
Yeah.
my oldest boy. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying like it might even be something that like offspring for the like the printing
Oh
that you
yeah.
get actually made into a book. I want to see if there used to be a local print shop that I worked for them for a couple of days just filling in because they were like really understaffed because they lost a few people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, I can like get some stuff printed here. And then like the owner passed away sometime after that. So so I wasn't able to go back. But I was like, I think I can find some local printers and see if I can like, hey, you know what, cut me a deal or something, or like
Yeah.
or even just see like, oh, since it's local, maybe it might be even cheaper.
Okay. Well, it's it. Yeah, I mean, it's art. I've got all of my PDF ebooks are on my website. So, and they're on this computer. So that's simple. Getting you the manuscript, the ebook, to use for printing that's super easy. I can do that.
Okay.
No problem. And I'm all about giving back.
Yeah, even if I just print out like a couple of copies just like here at home, like just like, hey, I want to try this out. And if I see like more kids are like, hey, like I like this, like, well, give me a minute. No,
Well, do you know how to put a file on like a Google Drive that can be like, you can just give someone the link and then they can download it?
yeah, I can do that.
Because if you have kids, like if their parents, want to print it for their kid, they could do that. You could just give those kids access to a drive that you save the document on.
Yeah.
Basically, you can do whatever. I'm going to send you the document, and you can do whatever you want to with it to get it to some kids. Because to me, that's, like I said, that's all I needed. That's all I would need to know. Or as far as feeling anything from it, I'm already done. Like my success is that I even have it to give. Just knowing that when you're talking about kids being that excited about getting your comic book, I mean, you've got that, sure, and you're going to keep giving that to them. But this is a whole nother, sure, it's only one more thing, but hey, I was a foster kid, so everything I had between 15 on was gifted, for the most part, or it was from the state of Louisiana. So yeah. The benevolence, that's the topic of that thing I asked you to be a part of next week. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
The only reason
I was reading some of that and I was looking up the full-bodied campaign project.
Oh, Leonard Nimoy's?
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
okay, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, well, he had he was a poet, and there's a few of them out there that I fell in love with Leonard Nimoy when he was Spock.
Yeah.
I didn't find out about him being a poet until later, because I'm a poet, and he was like, even like him and Keanu Reeves. It's so ironic that a lot of the men that I had admired and followed anyway, even though I followed them originally for other reasons, like he was Spock, finding out that he was a poet in addition to that was like, oh, well, no wonder I love the man. No wonder the man's personality suits me and why I love him as a person, even, besides the Spock thing. Duh.
Yeah.
There's something, there's just something about poets in general that I get them. I get them. They get me. I get them. So anyway, I mean, the topic is not necessarily about Leonard Nimoy, but it is. I am going to use him as the example for the topic. Like in terms, he's just our jumping off. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just our. Yeah. Like my last episode, I used Prince, because Prince had a quote that said, "A strong spirit transcends rules." And the topic was about freedom and not having to feel bound to rules, and so anyway, it was a pretty cool topic. but that's what I kind of do. I try to take, like, it gets people in, it's like, oh, we're going to talk about Leonard Nimoy. Well, no, not really. I'm just, but Leonard Nimoy he lived the benevolence in terms of selflessness, and in terms of trying to be a decent person to the underdog, and to bring light to some of the ways that people were treated that was not okay. That was one of the things he did, and that's kind of the whole point of it, and mostly it's about being, what does benevolence even mean? There's so many people that have no idea what it actually means to give something away for free, or to give something away without, basically, this is just my opinion, Frank. The minute I start showing off about what I'm giving away to someone, I've just killed most of the spirituality to it.
Yeah.
Like, we're having this discussion about this comic book online and how I'm going to give you the PDF and stuff. Am I going to go make some big public, fancy schmancy public post about how I'm going to be giving you this just so you can go give it to a bunch of kids? No. The only way someone's going to know that is if they come to this video and find this point in the video and they watch it. I got no interest. I got no interest in using that as some, oh, look at me, I'm doing this fabulous, wonderful thing. Although, I mean, I guess it has a place for it, because sometimes people need to see you doing something like that so that they become willing to do stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just contradicted myself, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because even myself, like, I don't really like to bring up the stuff that I do unless it connects to something.
Right.
But that's how people know. But like, Captain Courage is faith-based. Captain Courage, like, you do this too, like, and it's just something that I do on the side. I did start to do a YouTube channel as Captain Courage, because I wanted to have it kind of like a kids show.
Yeah.
I got the wrong crowd. I got the real life superhero crowd.
Oh, wait, the pedophiles?
No, I got real life superheroes.
Oh.
So I became, for a brief moment, hey, you should join our group. So for a brief moment, I was a real life superhero, and then later I'm like, you know what? I don't really like. I mean, you guys do is good, like, handing out sandwiches and food and stuff. Like, I do this.
Right.
And some of you guys wanted me to go fight crime. I'm not gonna do that because I'll get killed.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight crime. But, that super. Oh my god, I've heard of those groups. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but and I kind of like trying to, okay, like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm not gonna use the title anymore. And they're like, well, as long as you're using the costume and doing something, you're still considered one. Like, all right, that's fine. You can consider me one. But I'm not gonna. People are telling me hey, you should fight crime. You should stop doing this and go. But I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's not what this is about.
I'm trying to help. I was just like, oh yeah, we did this event. We do this. We visited kids, and then there's a link if you want to donate to the organization. And people telling me, well, you're a sellout. You shouldn't be charging money. I'm not charging money, but like, if you want to donate, and I made some shirts on Teespring. So like, oh yeah, I have some merch. You want to buy it? Oh, you shouldn't be profiting. I was like,
profiting is Captain Courage?
Yeah, and I was like, well, I mean, anything I haven't made anything, but if I make anything, it goes back to what I'm doing. It doesn't go to.
Yeah, and who the fuck is that person thinking it's any of their business to say anything anyway?
Yeah, and it was like, okay, I mean, like, whatever. I mean, so now, like, I would just post like art drawings that I've done of Captain Courage. Like, so if I do something for my channel, it's Captain Courage. I'll save it and I'll do a different voiceover and I'll put it up on there. So more people have start to like, oh, okay, he's not doing crime fighting. He does art and comics and stuff. So like, So they'll kind of like, if they like it, they'll stay. If not, they'll leave. But hopefully, like I can get the audience I did want to get to like.
Well, exactly. And that's I have to tell you, Frank, I get what you're saying about how you weren't really talking about it. And I know I'm contradicting myself by saying, the minute you do something, then you've got to go whatever. I'm going to contradict that a little bit because I do Diva Daily Living. Okay. I'm Diva DORI and I do Diva Daily Living. And when I was going through my campaign with a couple of guys, we got on a StreamYard, and I had a couple of comic guys who were super rad, and they were super benevolent and willing to go through the campaign with me and look at the perks and stuff and kind of give me their feedback. And when we were talking about the coloring book, I was talking about how the whole reason I decided to do the coloring book was so that, yeah, it's going to be in the campaign and I'm not going to give it away for free to people that are going to buy the coloring book. However, on the side, in my world, with the few people that do follow the Diva thing, privately, they won't have to pay for the coloring book. I have a list of followers that they know that I would never publicly name them. That's never going to happen because I, just by the nature of what I do. So I was saying this, and they both, the guys on the thing with me, they both said, that's fine. You don't need to talk about those people or what you do for those people. But not putting who you are as Diva Daily Living and DORI, that's not they both felt like it wasn't a good idea for me to leave that off of the thing. They're like, you need to put that on there. You need to tell people that's why you have a coloring book on here. And why you're doing it the way you're doing it. And you don't have to tell them any of that private information about the people you mentor, but yeah, for sure. Tell people why on earth you're doing a coloring book for your haiku series. You need to tell them. They were both of these guys are pretty young. They're in the whole completely different age group as me. And they both were very adamant. They're like, yeah, you need to tell people that. You need to have it on here because it's going to, and they said exactly what you said was, they're like, yeah, we can see why you maybe don't want people to think you're trying to profit from it, but you can't keep doing what you're doing in a giving, benevolent way for the people that I'm working with. I can't keep doing that if I can't afford it, if I can't afford the basics of what I do to help them. And so, and they said, they're like, there's nothing wrong with that. And if someone doesn't understand that's why you're taking a donation or that's why you're selling a book to go with it or to make money for it, then that's their problem. That's their issue, not mine. Yeah. That's not me. I have no interest in I can't even think of the word. Here's a word for it. I think I'm too tired. We're at an hour and a half, and I think I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Exploiting. That's that. See, it just took a minute.
Oh yeah.
I have no interest in exploiting it to get money or to make money from it. But if it does mean that I can, so for that, honestly, I don't even really need to say that I'm going to give, a bunch of copies to other entities when I can just simply say that for everyone that's ever bought, that a duplicate will be given to the Diva Daily Living people. Because but see, I was going to do that anyway, so I'll probably still send them somewhere. I'm going to send them somewhere is the point. That's what I'm getting at, is that I've decided to be more open, not going to be open with who I mentor, not doing that. Sure. But I am definitely going to be more open with letting people know that I even do that, Yeah. It was really no secret. You'd have to be, really, how, I mean, I'm sure there's people that follow me that don't have a fucking clue because they just don't care or they don't pay attention or they've, or they do care, but they've got their own lives, man. People have their own shit to do. I don't expect people to follow every little thing that they could. There's no way they could follow every little thing I do. I do too much. Well, okay, I don't do too much. I just do a lot. Let me put it that way. And that's just for me, for my own reasons. I have my own reasons that I do for me doing so much.
Yeah.
Part of it is that I get bored easily, and this is what I do with my life. This is exactly what I do with my time. If I'm not with my kids or if I'm not at the day job, art is what I'm doing. That's just what I'm doing. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also part of a support group.
Mm-hmm.
So I did I think in the chats when that lady was talking, I said, well, I did a little mini comic for the group, and I gave them a copy, and so you can make all the copies you want. I don't think they've done them because it was COVID themed, and the COVID is kind of like it's not as bad. I was like, okay, I might have to make a new one, but
yeah.
But like I just have that, like I give that one away, and
yeah, that was
part of that
you helped that girl that night.
Yeah, I was hoping she'd like contact me and like so I could like either at least give her that and maybe even give her like some PDF files of some of my other comics that she might either make her smile or something. But
yeah. Well, she was mostly asking for a friend because she was trying to navigate that issue with a friend who was suffering. So hopefully she's fine. I mean, hopefully the friend's fine too, but I wouldn't get too upset or worried about herself not having contacted you because I don't know if you caught that part, but she was asking more so for a friend of hers.
Okay.
That was dealing with those issues. And she was really more asking us because she was trying to help her friend, trying to figure out how to help mitigate those things going on with her friend. So she herself was, didn't sound like it was, the only thing I remember was she was having some trouble kind of getting some motivation to create her music, but then the depression thing came up and yeah. I think she herself is probably fine. I hope. Okay. And I just send up prayers for those people when those, the hardest thing doing what I do, and I would imagine you've gone through this, is probably one of the hardest things I've had to come to terms with is that I can't save everybody. And I'm not a therapist. I never try to be one. And I've had to disengage from people sometimes because they need the therapy and they're not getting it because they're relying too heavily on their friends or their loved ones. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to get your loved ones involved and get them involved, get them on your side and have them help you. But you cannot expect them to be your therapist for you. That just that's not okay. It's really not a good idea at all. It's actually dangerous. It's some seriously dangerous shit right there. So it's heartbreaking sometimes when you have to disengage from that because oh man, I would love it if I could just snap my fingers and give people the kind of fortitude I have that helps keep me from going down that rabbit hole. I used to suffer from depression a lot. And I haven't had to really suffer from it for a long time because of this, because I do this. This is my therapy. That's why I'm doing the coloring book. It's art therapy for the people out there that appreciate it for the therapeutic value that it has. Because the therapeutic value of what I'm doing right now with this paint, you can't put a dollar amount on what this does for me in terms of soothing my soul and making me happy on the inside. What I'm doing right now with this painting, there's no dollar amount to really express just how special it is for me. There just isn't.
Yeah, and that's the same reason for me that I started to get back into art more, and then like, hey, I want to do a comic,
Mhm.
but like, cause same, I suffered from depression, um, and sometimes like I'll have like little relapses, but now I can see the signs and like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, like, okay, it wants to get back in, and I'm not gonna let it. So
Right.
uh, uh, but like but focusing with the art, the comics, or even just I mean, I think that might be like a big part why I like to just give people stuff because I want them to smile, even
Mhm.
though at the time I wasn't smiling, but seeing them
Right.
smile makes me smile.
100%. I can so relate to that so much. So much. Um, and one of the things that helped me was recognizing the difference between what the causes for like what would cause me to get depressed. And a lot of my depression was situational depression. It wasn't based on anything chemical going on in my brain or my body or I did have a period of depression that was caused by protein deficiency.
Oh,
Um, and so I do know that is part of what I when I do mentor someone. I don't, like I said, I'm not a therapist, so I'd never give therapy or do therapy ever. However, when I'm mentoring people, I will have a conversation with them about what they eat or don't eat and whether or not they're getting enough protein in their diet or not. And protein deficiency is one of those first signs that someone's probably that maybe what they're feeling isn't even really real, because protein has a huge factor, plays a huge factor in making sure you have the right stuff going on in your system to
yeah,
create the dopamine and serotonin you need to feel good.
yeah.
And I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that my body basically crashed from not having the proper nutrition. So, oh man. So I am basically almost done. Not quite. I was like, if I stop, I don't know. But I kind of want to stop, but I kind of want to finish it.
Yeah. I I turned this this naked girl into a mask woman. So
Really? Let me see.
yeah.
I have a piece that I ended up doing with one of my girls where I put a mask on her. Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, I'm
That
just
is
covering
so
it right
cool.
now.
Mm, that is
Yeah.
so cool. She's like, are you going to turn her into some kind of like crime fighting superhero type thing?
Well, she's one of the characters for Captain Gaga's
Oh,
Mask
is she?
Woman. She's yeah, she's Mask Woman. She's the
Oh, duh.
that's Anna's character. So
Okay, so right now, so this comic book that you've been talking about, Captain Courage, um, you said it's not a webtoons, right?
yeah, no, they're not. They're not. Neither of them are webtoons. But I've been thinking about putting them up there. But I just want to have more pages done, so that way when I do put stuff up, while I'm uploading a
Well, what
page
about the
or
ones you've got done that you give to the kids?
yeah, I have those, but I want to fix some of the pages, uh, just some of the
Mm,
art a little bit. But I can do that. But that's what I'm saying. When I have like a little bit more, and I
yeah.
think I can even do these. But
Hey, I got no room to
since
talk.
since I
I'm such
already
I'm such a
huh?
pain. I said I have no room to talk about like when are you going to have it on there, Frank? When is it? When am I going to be able to read it? I was like, I got no room to talk. I'm like, let me shush up because I'm just getting started with mine. I'm like, I don't even know like half of that
I
stuff.
was gonna send you some copies, but I totally forgot to put them in there. until after I already sealed the envelope. Like, oh, I was gonna include a couple of comics in here, and I totally forgot. And I
Aw.
was like, well, next time. Like,
That, yeah,
no.
no, it's okay. I trust me. The only reason I was asking about it being on Webtoons is because that's one of the things I'm going to talk about Tim Laddie on Saturday with, because he is the webcomic, and he was talking with Will the other night, and I listened to the show. I didn't get to watch it live when it was going on because I was being interviewed by Russ, but I want to get more I want to pick his brain a little bit more about that whole webcomic world, because this year was the first year. Remember how I said that the good thing about my computer, even though I ended up not being able to use it for illustrating or, being a digital device for that, it is perfect for reading because of how big it is. So yeah, it may not be able to, it doesn't have a pen and all that jazz. I never could stand reading digitally.
Yeah.
Like that was, it's like the idea of reading on a digital device. I had a, what is it called? I have a Nook, and I didn't mind my Nook, but it was very rare that I read anything on it. But this year I get into following people with comic books, and I'm following campaigns, and I'm sitting here going, okay, I can't afford all of this. But I want these comic books, or I want this story, or I want to know what's going to happen over here. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, well, fuck. So I had to literally make a compromise with myself. I had to be willing to back a campaign with the PDF level, getting the PDF of it.
Yeah.
Because at least I could participate, I could back it, I could help, I could feel like I'm being a part of helping a friend, a creator, but I can also follow the story and get the story. Would I prefer it in print? You bet. I would 100% prefer to read something in print. But I just can't, So anyway, that's why I kept asking. I think I was like, when are you going to have it on the Webtoons? Because I'm actually following a few on my phone. I will go and that's why, even though mine are on there, and mine are these little, I don't have many on there. My haiku series actually is doing okay, in my opinion. I have, I think I have 8 people that follow it. And I tell you, those 8 people make me feel like a rock star. I wake up sometimes and I go, okay, what am I going to do today? Like, am I going to do one today? Am I going to produce an episode for it? And I kid you not, those 8 people, whoever these are, we've got 8 people out there, Frank. Yeah. And I don't know if you're one of them, but I think about those 8.
One of them.
Are you? Okay. Yeah. So I think about my 8 people, like you and whoever the other 7 are. I do legit think about you every day. So when you see a haiku from me, just know, that it's because I decided to produce a haiku for you. I feel like I have, no, I'm not, I'm, you're not my customer, but you're my follower. And that I have a duty to you, that's really, truly how I feel. So I get why. So that, to make a long story fucking short, I was like, Dory, man, to go back to what you
get something on Webtoons is what you're saying.
Well, yes, but I'm also saying that I understand you wanting to take your time in terms of the quality and the work and what you're going to put on there. I get it, man. I get it, because I deleted that comedy one over not having, the art the way I should have been having it. And you know what I mean? And I wasn't taking it seriously. And I which made no sense, because everywhere else I'm kind of a lunatic when it comes to my artwork being original and being exact and being precise and being, well, to my way of doing it. I don't have rules per se. Like I don't, that's the luxury of being an abstract painter. Yeah. But I wasn't giving any consideration to quality when I was doing the comedy one. I really wasn't. I'm not going to lie. I didn't give 2 fucks about it. The joke was funny as far as I was concerned. And that was all I needed to bother with. And as it was gently suggested to me, that really made it look bad, you know? And so that's why I deleted it and started it over. So now, whatever you do see on the comedy one, I don't know if you followed the new one, but what you see on the new one for the comedy will be a totally different. Is it going to be like, you know, perfect art? Probably fucking not. I'm new at digital, you know, but it's going to be better than what I was putting on there. That's for sure. And it's going to be original stuff, not fucking stock art. Or stock, what is that called? Stock. I was using pictures and
stock photos,
stock photos, stock clip art, that kind of stuff. And then it's like, yeah, no, not really cool. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it necessarily, but I do get the point that was made to me about using it. I was like, okay, I get it. I'll go. I have a few. I think I have like 4 that I had done that were all me. And so I do have I have 3 that I need to upload into the new series. I called it the same thing. It's got the same name. But I did just start over. The other thing I did is I made sure in the description it actually says the disclaimer that everything is original illustration, either done digitally on paper, because even though I technically don't feel like I need to put that in there, I did it more for my own what do you call that? Like my own accountability.
Yeah.
You know, like if I put it on here, then my lazy ass can't be going over there and using no fucking stock art and thinking that's okay. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. Oh, man. Holy shit. I look at, like, it feels like just a second ago we were at like an hour and 20 or some shit, and we're coming up on 2. You're more than welcome to. Yeah, I have, as you can see, I just have a few more white areas to paint. When I get done filling in the blanks and all the paints and all the colors, I will be letting this piece probably dry for a couple of days or so, and then I'll come back in with some black paint and sharpen up some of the black, sharpen it back up, especially around their bodies. And basically it's like I basically have to because of the way I do some of my artwork, I have to re-ink them after I paint them. That's usually only something I have to do on paper art. I rarely have to do something like that on canvas.
Okay, on digital.
Or digital, yeah. Like on a digital, like the piece I just did. I wonder if I would be able to, if you'd be able to see it on the screen. Let me see. Oh yeah, you can. This is the piece, Frank. This is the one I just did.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
She's pretty, huh?
Yeah.
I literally started with a blank, just a blank canvas on the phone. Yeah. And that's a couple of layers later, line art. I do the thing now where I kind of sketched the line art. The original sketch, I just kind of use similar to using the blue. I don't know if you know what the blue pencil thing is that some of the comic book guys use.
Yeah, the blue line.
The blue line, yeah. So I'll blue line the app and do a sketch, and then I will add a layer, and then I go basically over that with charcoal. I like using charcoal. Sometimes I leave it as the charcoal. It depends. This one I didn't, because after I'd done that, I got it in my head that I wanted her to look like a I can't even think of it now. I wanted her to look like one of those old images from way back in the day when the women were kind of like the 20s era, where they were all elegant, more elegant than anything really. And so I liked the idea of instead of using thin lines, like thin black lines. I wanted the black lines to be like super thick. So when I inked her, I jacked up the line, and I used one of those inking pens in the app, as opposed to what I normally use, which is just the dark blackest charcoal or whatever. So yeah, that's she's ready. And she's the one I think I was telling you. She doesn't really go with a joke per se. She just goes with a funny comment. The girl's making a comment because she just woke up.
Yeah.
And she's just making a comment. And I'm not going to say what it is because, you'll just have to find out when it comes out on the web.
That's why I tell people when they ask me on the show or kids like, oh, what's Captain Goggles gonna do? What's Mask Woman? You're gonna have to read the comic. So
right?
You finish it.
You're
and you finish it, and I can, then you can read it.
That is so cool. Yeah, well, it's funny. Until a couple months ago, until I started like even watching the shows and getting into kind of like following some of these comic creators, I didn't really know what the term cosplay meant. I know what it is only because I have been dressing up as characters my whole fucking life. I got more costumes in my closet than I do some other types of, like, I probably have more costumes than I have pairs of shoes or some shit. I mean, it's just, I got a lot. Okay. So I'm like, I heard someone comment on, like, say cosplay one night, and I'm like, what the fuck is cosplay? And I go look it up, and I look up the definition. I'm like, oh, well, I can totally do this. I'm all over that. And I'm like, I already have it in my head. Like, when the time comes, if I find a really good sequential artist willing to co-partner on my comedy book, I have every intention of going and being the Amazon beauty in true form in public. Like I used to do that when I did stand up. There were times I did one of my stand up comedy things when I performed. It was one of the nights I was on the actual billing as a performer, not just open mic. I performed my set, but I performed it dressed up as Britney Spears.
Oh, okay.
And I did the entire set as if I was Britney. So all the jokes were Britney telling jokes, and it was Britney Spears telling jokes about her life and some of the stuff that's about her life. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fucking funny. I got quite a bit of following after that. That was a long time ago. I don't have that wig anymore. But I still have the picture. From those. There was a promotional picture that they had. I had used. Someone had asked me for it once. They're like, we need a picture of you with the Britney wig it was for a promotional an appearance I did. And I'm like, okay. So I had to have a picture taken of me with the wig. So yeah. So when I'm like, I think it was watching some show and the girls in cosplay, and I'm like, what the hell? And then I realized, oh yeah, I guess I kind of know what that is because I've been kind of doing that my whole life in one way, shape, or form or another, especially with all the costumes I have in my closet. Dress up? Oh yeah, I'm all about dressing up. I love dressing up. The other night when I was being interviewed with Russ, he puts on this wig he has, and I was cracking up, and I'm like, I should have got my wig. I feel like I'm being left out. I should have got my wig out. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Do you understand? Do you feel?
That's kind of how Captain Goggles came about, because same, like, I'll put something on. I used to make costumes and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Keith Harper in the chats. He does his comic Davy Rocket. So I have a jacket, a Davy Crockett jacket with the the fringe hanging down. So I ordered a Davy Crockett hat, and
Mm,
I put it on one of the shows that uh, I used to like hop on and be a guest on Jeff Lafferty's show, but he hasn't done a stream in a while. But
okay.
I was gonna do that for Keith because he was gonna be a guest. And hey, can I be on? And I'll dress up as Davy Rocket. And
Yeah.
Keith didn't show up, but I was wearing that. And
Oh,
then
how
when I start doing my show, I'll put on the Davy Crockett hat, or I'll put something on, then I take it off. And then I asked Anna to if she wanted to be on the stream, and she like takes out her mask and puts it on,
It's so
and I
funny.
like, well, I can't let her upstage me. I gotta wear something. So for like a few streams, like I'm just wearing random things, and then like, oh, I have these goggles um, that I
Hmm.
bought for a Ghostbusters costume. I'll just wear them on top of my head, and they won't bother me.
Right.
And that's where Captain Goggles came from. Someone just in the chat randomly said, "Oh, Captain Goggles and Masked Woman." Like,
That
hey,
is
that's cool. Like,
cool.
hey, I like that. So I said, hey, Anna, what if we make a? I'll make a little comic. And she's like, well, if you're gonna make a comic, it's gotta have a story and it's gotta have a plot. So I ended up doing this little plot, and then like it keeps going on. It's like, okay, I gotta write a script. So, and that's what she's doing. Like she's like, I'm gonna write a script, or I'm gonna write ideas, and we can do a script. And like, okay, let's do something.
That is so cool. You know, it kind of, I mean, it's not the exact same thing at all, but it kind of reminds me of the day that Pop says, "Why don't you illustrate your poetry?" And then, you know, boom, month or so
Yeah,
goes by, and I've got a whole fucking book of illustrated haikus and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, you know. And that's kind of like you're talking about. Oh, let's just put on these goggles, and then before you know it, you've got this whole like freaking comic book out of it, and there's all these stories and characters and
yeah,
scripts. And yeah, it is that's it's meant to be the way that creativity comes out of nowhere. Like I've had art pieces where I'm, you know, depending on how I'm conceiving a piece, a lot of times I'm just looking at a blank sheet of paper or a blank canvas most of the
mhm,
time. Once in a while I will use a point of reference. Like I may not be doing a person in per se, but maybe I
mhm,
want an expression a certain way, or I want to pose a certain way. Like I have a picture where the woman's head's thrown back, you know, so I looked up what that looked like. I found a picture of a woman whose head was thrown back, you know, and that's as far as the comparison, you know, like that's the extent of it is the pose. That's it. The
yeah,
rest of it is whatever I got. But then there's other times where I literally am looking at the blank sheet of paper with zero thought in my brain about what I'm about to do, and then it just comes out of wherever it comes out of. I've had shapes, or the way even just the way the light might hit the paper dictates what I end up painting or what I end up putting on paper. Just even the lighting. I had at least one or two pieces like, or actually probably more, where the
mhm,
only reason they are what they are is because of something that I saw with the way the light was hitting the paper. It just happens, you know.
yeah. Oh,
It's
cool.
just it's part of the letting the create. Like I sometimes, you know, probably sound like I'm maybe a little bit touched in the head because I'll talk about my art as if it's a person. Like this is a person. Like this is
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
like this is an actual thing. This woman on this tree, you know, this man, actually it's a man and a woman, right? So this man and this woman who are being born from this tree,
Oh, okay.
they're they're real people. Like they're giving birth. So this is a metaphor for giving birth, as well as, you know, as well as the metaphor of Mother Nature and her
Hmm.
role in human life, because we would have no life if it weren't for nature, if it wasn't for Mother Nature. um I have a theory that God is a busy creator. Like, you know, he's got, I mean, look at what he's got to deal with, right? And he just doesn't have time for everybody. So he has, like, you know, he has a whole bunch of others that are helping him out. Mother Nature is one of them. She does what she needs to do to sustain life.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, unfortunately, sometimes she does what she does, well, does what she needs to do to eliminate life, you know, some natural disaster somewhere that takes out a bunch of humans because we can't afford to feed them. So, you know, we're going to probably have to kill a few in a tsunami. I'm just saying. It's a sad it's a sad theory, but it's, you know. So anyway, then there's the other one God uses. God, and this is just a theory, but God has this other female friend called Karma. And Karma is the bitch he calls in to do some serious gnarly shit when he's too busy. He calls her in to take care of the ones that need to be taken care of in a way that need to be, you know, they need a lesson learned. Like they need to learn some kind of lesson. And God's like, yeah. So he calls up Karma and he goes, hey, you know, so-and-so and so-and-so, you're gonna need to teach them a lesson. You know, I don't have time for them. I truly believe that's what he uses as karma. That's what karma's for, you know. She is that chick that God calls in to teach people lessons that they need to learn, because it's just my opinion. These are just opinions, people, whoever's listening. You know, if everything is not going right for you, if life is falling apart by the seams and everything seems to be shit, you might want to check your karma meter. I'm just saying. You know, if they don't believe in karma, then that's not going to really work, you know, telling someone that not everybody believes in it. I do. Oh, man. And it may not be true. You know what, Frank? It may not be true. But you know what? I'm going to make damn sure that if it is true, I'm on the right side of that meter.
Right, so
I'm not even going to. What?
I'll be right back. I go restroom, but I'll be right back.
All right. Take forever. If only tell each other to believe. So I have a couple of parts of this that I like what I used color-wise, but I needed it to be more bold or more stand out more or whatever. So I'm doing that right now. I'm just kind of going through it and pieces of it that I think should be just a different blue or a darker blue, that kind of thing. Otherwise, it's basically done with, you know, I am going to come back through, as I was telling Frank, and add some black back to some of the areas that I painted around and got paint on the black, which is fine. It's kind of the way I do my thing. It's the way I do things. It's just how I do it. It'll be right.
All right, I'm back.
Totally fine. I am literally like a few strokes away from being done with this. Okay. I was just I was going back over just a few little areas that I like the color I used, but I needed it to be darker or have another coat of the color kind of thing. Because I do that, you know, like especially the pieces of the painting, depending on what it is, if I need it to stand out and I get to the end and it's not standing out the way I need it to, then yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be like, this needs more color. So, and I like right now, I liked their color, but I wanted them to be darker.
Okay.
So, but yeah, all I really have left to do on this is what I'm doing, what you see me doing.
Okay.
That's it. And this is pretty much done. it'll dry. And when it's all said and dry, I will go back and I'll add black in a lot of the areas where I painted over some of the black lines. But otherwise, it's done.
Okay.
This is one of the few pieces that I did in this book that this is actually a piece I had done years ago. I actually still have the original. The original is a paper art piece. But it's like way bigger than this. Like this is a regular 8.5 by 11, I think. Or it might be, this might be 8 by 10 because it's a sketch paper pad. But the original painted, definitely time for me to go to bed. It's much, much bigger than this. So, all right, Frank, I'm going to hit an exit video that I have that I usually put at the end of my art streams. And
Okay.
I will, I'm in the wrong, that's why I'm like, wait, where is my video? It changed the background, which is fine.
Oh, that's cool.
I have one of those things in StreamYard. I was in the brand for my other thing. So yeah, so I'm gonna hit play on that video and then I'm gonna hit offline. So after the video starts playing, you can, peace out.
Okay.
I'm so excited you joined me. Thank you so much for keeping me company. This was a lot of fun.
No problem. I enjoyed being on, and I can't wait to be on next Friday.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that as well, for sure. And the only reason, normally or technically it was going to be this Friday, but I rescheduled it because I want to make sure that I promote and advocate people watching the auction that Russ Allen's doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that's why I rescheduled it because I didn't want my show. Not that my show gets a lot of following. I do want to. It didn't make any sense to do a show about benevolence and then be doing that at the same time as someone else is doing an auction. Yeah. Does that So, all right. Well, I'm gonna hit play on this and I'm gonna hit offline and I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay. Bye.